Hey guys, it's Chris Lopez from KettlebellWorkouts.com, and I'm in my home office today, ready for another Friday Q&A. A little bit about what's been going on this past week. Actually, today I'm leaving to go camping. Now, I'm not an outdoorsy person by any means necessary. I am a tried and true urbanite. I'm a city guy, so this will be a new experience for me. Remember last week when I was talking about playing soccer and getting out of your comfort zone? Well, this is me completely going out of my comfort zone. I'm going with Frankie and Joey, so my number 2 and my number 3 daughters, for their beaver troop. Beavers is like a I guess it's like Scouts or Girl Scouts here in Canada. I don't know if my friends internationally have beavers, but that's what we call them here in Canada. So we're going on an end of the year camping trip. I've never been, well, I've been camping once, but I've never done it with the kids. But there'll be a lot of families there, and you know, we'll see how it goes. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I'll be disconnecting for 3 days, so that's why I wanted to make sure that I get this Q&A out to you guys today. Okay, so let's get on to the Q&A. I'm going to grab my iPad right here because this is where I have all the questions. The first question talks about when to move up in weight. So when do you advise the clients, for clients it's time to move up in weight? For instance, I did 90 swings with a 35-pound kettlebell in 4 minutes on day 1, phase 1 of the TT Kettlebell Revolution. Should I step it up to the 53-kilogram kettlebell or the 53-pound kettlebell? I assume it is okay to go heavier on the kettlebells with some exercises than on others, i.e. like get-ups versus swings. Absolutely correct in that last question where, yeah, I mean, it'd be ideal if you had a varied number of kettlebells just so that you'll notice for the ballistic exercises, especially with all the hip swing involved and all the hip hinging and the explosive hip power coming into play, that's more of a full body exercise, and therefore you'll be allowed or you'll be able to use a heavier bell because, you know, after a few weeks, if you're used to using a 16K, that 16K, if you get your hip hinge right and you get your hip explosion right, will feel relatively light. So you may want to move up in that sense. As to a benchmark as to when you want to move up, I usually ask clients to stay at a weight, and if you read my past blog posts, I'm very big on mastering a weight. Your body has a difficult time. Your muscles may adapt, and physiologically you may adapt, but your tendons and your ligaments may not adapt as quickly to a weight as you would like to think. So even though you're progressing and your reps are going up, is that time to increase the amount of weight? No, not necessarily. I would say stay at a benchmark. So if you're at 90 swings for 4 minutes, stay there for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Kind of let your body adapt with that weight and do that consistently so that it feels easy, and then move up into weight. So hopefully that'll answer your question. Kind of stay at the weight that you're at for a little while, maybe 2 to 3 weeks until everything feels easy, and then progress your way up from there. The second question is from my friend Paul, who is a Torontonian. He asked, what workouts from your program do you suggest I do to complement my resistance training? I usually do pull-ups and push-ups, and after I finish that off with stairs, but I want to incorporate some kettlebell work into my training. What do you suggest? So Paul's basically asking, what do you do if you want to use kettlebell training to complement what you're doing? I'm all for it, obviously. I mean, I wrote a program called the TT Kettlebell Revolution Hybrid, which was a hybrid barbell and kettlebell exercise program that you can pick up, or that came as a bonus that I should be re-releasing soon. But to answer your question, I would just start by incorporating swings. I think kettlebell training takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of well, I guess, like I said in the last question, mastery. So we want to make sure that we're mastering the exercises, practicing the exercises on a consistent basis. So foundationally, the best exercise for you to incorporate or add into your current program, if you don't want to go into kettlebells kind of full-time or really take a lot of time to practice all the movements, are the swings. That's probably the most foundational exercise there is, and the most bang for your buck exercise that I can find that is not as technical as, say, maybe a clean or a snatch. So incorporate swings. Probably start off with, you know, maybe a 16-kilogram kettlebell or a 24-kilogram kettlebell, Paul, if you're relatively strong or if you've been working out for a long time, and then do like 20 to 25 swings and kind of build your way up from there. Remember what I was talking about in the last question about mastery. That's something that I want you to really focus on doing, is making sure that your technique is tight before you really start to push the envelope in and go into like the century swings or the 100 swing kind of thing. And then finally, the last question was, I'm having some shoulder and neck tightness after high rep swings. Do you have any advice on more specific warm-ups or cooldowns to prevent the tightness? Well, there's a couple of things. Number one, to prevent the tightness, I would say first, make sure that you're not using your shoulders or your arms. Or what happens is when you get into the higher rep numbers, your hip hinge maybe not as explosive, or your hip explosion or your hip extension may not be as explosive. So you may start to fatigue and you'll start using other muscles like your arms or your shoulders or whatever, and you'll find that if you use a mirror, if you have a colleague videotape you, or if you have a colleague watch you, you may be shrugging your shoulders up, and that may be causing the tightness as well. The second thing that has a tendency to happen is the tightness may occur on the downward part of the swing. So as the bell is coming through your legs, you may be relaxing your shoulders a little bit too much and causing some extra strain by having that bell pull your shoulders. So my scapula is actually being protracted as the bell goes down as opposed to retracted. And in that instance, if that's the case, then I would suggest to really focus on using your lats and really squeezing your shoulder blades together on the way down. So still maintaining tightness in your upper back and not releasing all your muscles or releasing all the tension as you start to come down. So you really want to focus on packing your shoulders, so keeping your shoulders away from your ears and focusing on firing your lats on the way down. And what that'll do is that'll compress your T-spine or your upper back and really have all those muscles firing so that they don't loosen up or have a tendency to get pulled or stretched. So hopefully that's a good tip that'll help you out if you were the one that asked that question. The second thing that I like to do, and this is usually prior to my workout, is I'll go through a bunch of different neck and shoulder stretches, like across the chest here. I usually do a baseball pitcher stretch where I'm internally rotating. And in addition to that, one of the more important ones, especially because I have a tendency to carry a lot of stress in my neck, is I'll stretch my neck in various different directions just so that I can really just develop some relaxation up in that area. So those are a few tips for you if you have a tendency to get tight shoulders or have a stiff neck while you're doing the swings. The other thing is just cut the reps down. Maybe not do so many reps, and focus on your form and making sure that you're doing things really nicely and really tight. So that'll be Friday's Q&A from the home office. Next week, I think what I'll do is I'll put the camera on my bike, and then maybe I'll talk to you while I'm riding my bike down to go see a couple of clients, and we'll have a little conversation there. It's supposed to be a great week next week as well. So I'm Chris Lopez, KettlebellWorkouts.com, about to head out to the great outdoors with my my two middle children, Joey and Frankie. Looking forward to it. Haven't been camping without a lot of help before, so this will be fun. Take care, guys. We'll see you next week.